Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to another exciting day of mathematics. Whoop, whoop. Warm-up number 47 is on the screen. Let's get started, please. How's everybody doing? Good? Cooler weather today, yeah? Yeah, I noticed that in the morning. It was nice and, it wasn't in the 40s. It was in the 50s, but tomorrow is going to be in the 40s, so, yeah, let's do it. Let's get started right away, please. All right, do me a favor, share with your neighbors, see where you're at with that warm-up. Check your processes to make sure they got it. I am going to go over number one just for the sake of the fact that it's one of those that some of you might be having a challenge with. Okay. All right. Because I do want to get us to, today we're going to do extra practice with domain and range just to clarify some of the spider webs up there. Here we go, number one. Question. Do you see a fraction equal to another fraction? Yes. So what do we do when we have a fraction to another fraction? Tell your neighbor, and then Mario's going to enlighten us. What do we do? Mario. That is correct. Cross multiply. So 1 times this is 2x squared plus 9x plus 9. This times this. I'm going to show it over here. But to save time, you know how to multiply that. That should give us x squared plus 7x plus 10. Hands if you got up to right there. Yes. From there, we need to get one side equal to 0. That means I'm going to take all of this and send it to the other side. So watch. Minus x squared minus 7x minus 10. Minus x squared minus 7x minus 10. That leaves us with x squared plus 2x minus 1 equal to 0. We there? Yeah? From there, let's see if I can factor this. Negative 1 and positive 2. What two numbers multiplied give me negative 1? And when you add them, give us positive 2. Anything? No? Nothing, right? No? Mario's saying 1 and 1. Let's see. What is 1 times 1? 1. That's not negative 1. Oh, negative 1, negative 1. What is negative times a negative, everyone? How about 1 and negative 1? That gives me that, but if you add these up, it's 0, so there is none. So for this one, I'm just going to write no real solution. Which means it does have a solution, but not a real one. So if it's not real, tell your neighbor what kind of solution that is. Think about it. What kind of solution is it if it's not a real one? Looks like Yulisa's got it. Very good, Yulisa. Mariah's got it. Caitlin's got it. Let's go. Well, let's go with Jesus. If it's not real, it's imaginary. Yeah, Jesus. Let's go. Number 2. Write a compound inequality. Here we go. In green. Dividing point is at negative 1. All these are x. What are all these numbers compared to negative 1? Less than. Is this an open or closed point? Open, so there's no equal sign. Since there's no intersection here, I'm going to write the word or. From there in red, what is my dividing point to the right? It's 1. All of these are x. So what is 1 compared to all these numbers? 1 is less than, and this point is what? Close, so that means we use an equal sign. And of course, that's our inequality, solution set of x such that, and close your inequality. Last but not least, we need a table. X, f of x. Our domain is -2, -1, 0, 1, 2. Our range, if we substitute values in here, -2 times -2 is +4 plus 3, that's 7. -1 times -2 is 2 plus 3, that's 5. 0 times -2 is 0 plus 3, that's 3. Tell your neighbor the last two values, please. Last two values. Then Renzo's going to enlighten us. Tell your neighbor the last two values. Actually, who haven't we called on in a while? How about, I sent it to Monse. All right, Monse, last two values. 1 and -1. Hands, have you got that? That is correct. Let's go. Let's graph this. So my domain is from -2, 1, 2, to +2. Is that crooked or what? A little bit? Okay, let me fix it. Better? Yeah, all right. My range goes from -1 all the way to +7. So -1 to +7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Which means I'm going to move my axes up like so. How about them apples, Mario? All right, -2, 7. -1, 5. 0, 3. 1, 1. And 2, -1. And of course, we get our line going through those points. Nice and straight like mine. There it is. And have you got something like that by yourself? Yeah. All right. Send that in, please. Copy the agenda for today. Warm-up number 47 done. We're still in the introduction of functions. I want to make sure we clear up domain and range tonight. I'm going to give you some extra practice. All right. So, as soon as you're done copying the agenda, go back there, get a handout, and get some more graph paper. 2 graph papers and a handout from back there as soon as you copy the agenda. Hurry up, please. I'll give you about a minute. Go. All right, copy the code for your home plate axis, 6HEVZ. 6HEVZ. Enrique, be nice. 6HEVZ. That's for your home plate axis. All right. Next, last night's home plate, look up, looks something like this, yes? So turn it in on the screen right now on Nearpod. I want to see what you did. And what else did I ask you to do for home plate? Talk it over your neighbor. What else did I ask you to do for home plate? If your neighbor doesn't remember, slap them by now so they can wake up. Yes, progress report. Go to Canvas and turn that in, please. I'll give you about a minute. Progress report time. And this is being recorded, so in case your parents want to hear it again, tell them to go to YouTube and they're going to hear me talk about the progress report being signed. All right. Nadim, yeah? We good? Yeah. Nice pen, by the way. Let's go. I like that. All right. Once again, turn that one in, this home plate in on your screen right now. All right. Now, probably the only one you had questions on, hopefully, was number 1 of the domain and range. That's if you have questions on. But we're going to get to some examples first before we revisit that one. Numbers 1 through 6 of the first kind of the interval notation. This should have been a piece of cake by now, yes? All right. Tonight's home plate looks like this. Look up. Tonight's home plate looks like this. Now, since we have a lot of graphs to do, and I don't want you to change your scaling on your paper, I actually printed out the home plate for you guys. So before you leave, make sure you grab one of these at the end, not right now, just for the sake of time. All right, so with that said, get a Cornell note ready. I can identify functions. I can identify functions. I can identify functions. So we're still in the middle of the concept of functions. So without looking at your notes, talk it over with neighbor. Let them know, what example shall we use for functions? What would you use for functions in a bracket format? And what will it make it a non-example? So first write an example. Think about it. Talk it over with your neighbor. What would you write for example? And what would you write for a non-example? Without looking at your notes. Then we're going to have Gabriel and Rachel enlighten us with answers. Oh, yeah. You will not believe it. What do you think? Such people? No, close though. What was that? No. I love Costco pizza. Yeah, so I told him I want Costco pizza. And it's a good price, yeah. Yeah, hurry up, Joseph. All right, here we go. Example. So you guys talked about it. Rachel, give us, what would you write as an example? Give us a relation. Go. Parentheses. No, a relation. And one more to make it a function. Thank you. That is correct. Tell your neighbor why this is a function, guys. Tell your neighbor why that is a function. All right, so now I want you guys to take this one and make it not a function. Take that and make it not a function. How would you make that not a function? Then Gabriel's going to enlighten us with that. Goodness, slide. All right, Gabriel, go. Hands if you agree with that. That is correct. Tell your neighbor why this one is not a function. Why is that one not a function? Then Gabriel's going to pass it to someone. Sebastian, why is this one not a function? The same input does not have has a different output for which one? -2 and -2 has two different outputs. It has 7 and 3. Hands if you agree with that? That is correct. Let's go. All right. So, with that said, get one of your graph papers out. Copy this one, please. Copy that one. It's on your screen, so you can see in detail. Today's going to be a day of clarifying domain and range. Make sure we got it. If you have highlighters, get those in front of you because we're going to need them for those of you that need the extra support to see where things start and things end. All right? So, on your paper, if you have a highlighter, who? All right. So we're going to start with domain, people. Domain. I'm going to use the color red for that one, or pink. On the left side, tell your neighbor what's the value of x that we're going to use, and on the right side, what's the value of x that we're going to use in order for us to cover the entire section of that. Or from where to where does our laser gun have to go? Talk it over to your neighbor, and then we're going to have Sebastian pass it to someone so they can help us out. Remember, right now we're on domain, which is on the x-axis, x values. All right, Sebastian, pass someone. Joseph, starting where? From -2. Everybody, if you have a highlighter on your graph paper, highlight -2 all the way to what? +8. Hands if you agree with that. That is correct. So that means over here on the domain, look up. You're going to write -2 all the way to 8. So what do we write in between, everyone, for domain? What value? X, because we're on the domain, right? Arrows to the left. And then you check which point is an open point and which one is a closed point. Which is the open one? Negative. Which one is the open point? -2, so we don't put an equal sign. And which one's the closed one? 8, that one has the equal sign. I want you to write here inequality notation. I want you to write me now the set notation in blue. Show your neighbor the set notation. Make sure they got it. Joseph, pass someone. Frank, go. Set notation of x such that and close set. Hands, if you got that? That is correct. Next, I want you to write me the interval notation of that. Write it in there, please. Interval notation. All right, show your neighbor. See what you got. All right, pass someone. Frank, go. Renzo. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Ooh-wee. From the corner, Renzo. Hands, if you got that? That is correct. Okay. Now let's go to range. I'm going to switch to green, a different highlighter. So, for the y-axis, look up. I'm looking at values starting from the bottom going upwards. So tell your neighbor what's the farthest we go below and what's the farthest we go above on the y-axis. Talk it over your neighbor, from below to the top. Renzo, pass someone. Enrique, where do we start at the bottom? -7. Let's see. Oh, looks about right. How about at the top? +1. Let's see. Ooh, looks about right. Therefore, we're going to write from -7 all the way to positive 1 for our range. So write range, negative 7, all the way to 1. And what do we write in between? So be careful on this one. What do we write in between? Talk to your neighbor. What do we write in between? Enrique, what do we write in between? What goes in between? Y, arrows to the left. And which one has the equal sign? Enrique. Why? Yeah, it's a close point. That is correct. This is my inequality. That is correct. I want you to write me the set notation and the interval notation, and then I want you to send it on the screen, please. I want to see what you wrote. All right, check with the neighbors, see what they got for set notation and interval notation. Then we're going to have Gio enlighten us with those. Set notation, interval notation of those. All right, Gio, go. The close thingy, the bracket, okay, was set notation. Y such that less than equal and close notation. Hands if you got that. All right, Gio, pass on one for interval notation. Mario. Close bracket. Yes. Comma. Parentheses. Hands if you got that. That is correct. From 1 to 5, how comfortable are you with this so far? All right. These are good. You send that in, yes? All right. So let's have fun now. Copy this one onto another graph. Ooh, I know, very fun, right? Let's go. And there it is on your screen, so you can try to get as close to it as possible on your graph. Give about a minute to copy it. Make sure it looks very similar to that one. All right, let's get the show on the road. Let's see. Get me started with the domain from left to right on the x values. Where do I start, Mighty? -7, all the way to what? To -1 on the x. Hands if you agree with that? Looks about right. So therefore, we go from -7 all the way to -1. What do I write in between? Less than. And which one has the equal sign? -7. Hands if you got that. That is correct. And make sure you write your set notation and your interval notation. All right? Kelly, set notation, go. Set of such that Thank you. Hands, have you got that? All right, pass someone for the interval notation. Ooh, Ashlyn, okay. Bracket, -7, -1, parentheses. Hands, have you got that? That is correct. Let's go to the range. I'm going to switch now to a different highlighter. For the range, I'm going to use blue just to change the color. Now we're looking at the Y values from the bottom to the top. All right. Share with your neighbor, where do we start from the far bottom on the Y, and what's the highest we go on the Y? Then Ash is going to pass to someone. All right, Ash, pass someone. Mariah, from the bottom, where do we start? What's the lowest? +2. Hands if you agree with that. That is correct. And what is the highest value for the Y? Eight. That is correct. And if you got that, that is correct. Notice on this one, what threw us off? That we were trying to get this point, but isn't this part of the graph up here? Yes. All right. So it goes from +2 all the way to 8. Y less than or less than. Now, the 2, since it's an open point, that's no equal sign. Question, is this a closed point? Talk it over to your neighbor. Discuss, would that be considered a closed point? Talk it over to your neighbor. Will that be considered a closed point? Mariah, pass someone. Mario, will that little piece there be considered a close point? If it's no, then that means we should have a little piece missing. Is that correct? Therefore, it's a yes. That is correct. So that means the 8 is the equal sign. That is correct. Just wanted to clarify that. So, once again, write your set notation and your interval notation. And then Mario's going to pass it to someone for the set notation. Pass it to someone, Mario. Gio, go. Set of such that and close set. All right, pass someone for the interval notation. Hands, have you got that? That is correct. Send a picture of that, please. Thank you, Sammy. Yes? Oh. From 1 to 5, how comfortable are you with this so far? We're getting there. Are we getting some of the spider webs out of the way? Yes? All right. Copy this one on your new graph paper. Let me send that to your screen so you can zoom in. There it is. Give you about a minute to copy it. Make sure you zoom into your screen so you can see all the little points. Do me a favor really quick. Share with your neighbor where you're at so far, and then I'm going to have somebody get us started with this for the sake of time. All right. Let's have Edwin help me out on the domain from where to where. What is it? 2 from here. -4 to 5. Hands if you got that. That is correct. From -4. Oh my goodness, why? to 5. They budged. And the rest is history, yes? All right. And, of course, you write your inequality, set notation, and such. Okay. Let's go to the range. Let's see. Let me get, pass someone, Edwin. Franco, the range. What's the lowest and what's the highest? From -4 all the way to 5. Hands if you agree with that. That is correct. From -4 of y, which is down here, it's hitting that graph right there, to +5, which is up here, and it hits that one right there. And of course, it's going to be, this is y, less than. This is a close point, and that is a close point, so it's equal sign on both. This one is x, less than, and it's close points for both, and there you go. And the rest is history. Send it in as soon as you're done, please. All right, so good question. Let me pause the music. Look up, people. The question was, Mr. Q, how do you know that this is a close point? Well, let me zoom in. There's my eraser. All right, look up, please, so you can clarify this in your noodle. If this was an open point, it would look like this. What do you guys notice? That there's a break on the function. Is that correct? So that means there is no point in that spot. So whenever you have any graph, if it's a continuous graph, that means it's a close point or a solid point. In other words, if I was to draw a line segment like this line segment is not only made of 2 points, it's made up of a lot of points in between that connect this whole thing. How would we know if there's anything that is an open point in between? By seeing a what? An empty space or a gap on the graph. All right? Did everybody clarify that? Yes? All right. Send that in, please. Let's move on to this one. Yeah, go. Copy this one. Let me send this to your screen because this one requires a little bit more finesse on your sketching. Some of you that are artistically challenged, hopefully this helps by zooming in. There it is. Copy that. I'll give you some time. All right. So, I'm going to start with the domain. Let's see, who went last? Franco, pass them one. Elijah, from where on the left side to where on the right side for the domain? What is it? From -4? Okay, from -4 all the way to what? To 3 is right here, but it looks a little bit more. Let's say 3.5. Okay, so watch. Look up, please. Writing utensils down. When you pause the music, I'm going to clarify some things right here. So Elijah said from -4 to 3 or a little bit more. -4 to 3.5 per se. However, look up, please. Is this a point? It's an arrow. Tell your neighbor what that means. That it continues to do what? Going and going, so that means the x values are going to continue going to what? Tell your neighbor. Yeah, to infinity. So that means instead of 3.5, I'm going to write positive infinity for the right side. Make a correction, please. And of course, in between, you got the x, less than, less than. The negative 4 is a close point, so we put an equal sign. Do we ever catch up to infinity? No, so no equal sign on infinity. This is my inequality. I want you to write me the set notation. Set notation. And then Gio's going to help us out with that one. Go, Gio. Set. Such that. All right. And let's go to the interval notation. Pass someone. Mario. Woo. Hands if you got that. That is correct. So that's for the domain. Let's go to the range. From the bottom to the top. Tell your neighbor what's the farthest to the bottom and what's the farthest to the top. Then Mario's going to pass someone. Mario, pass someone. Mariah, what's the farthest on the bottom? -7. Looks about right. And how about the top? She said, Mr. Q, I'm just going to highlight the arrow, but I'm saying that it's going to what? Infinity. Let's go, Mariah in the house. Hands if you agree with that? That is correct because it continues going upward, so that means we go from -7 to positive infinity. Y in between, less than or less than. 7 is the equal sign, and the other one is not, and you know how to do the rest, yes? All right. Send me a picture of what you got, please. Woo! Mario for Presidente. Anyways, the play sheet you got from the back is extra practice. However, that's for you to use. And your home play is right here, so make sure you come get one of these play sheets before the bell rings. You got about a minute. From 1 to 5, how comfortable are you with this so far? 5, 5, 5, okay. Good. I'll stop the video right there. For those of you that are following on YouTube, make sure you put the practice in. See you guys next time. Peace.